Did you know that drugs such as nicotine, cocaine, and THC have been found in ancient Egyptian mummies? For some, this is concrete proof that ancient Egyptians traveled to the Americas long before Columbus did. However, there may be a simpler explanation to this wild claim, rather than immediately jumping to pseudoscientific theories and abandoning logic. In 1992, 3 researchers wrote and published a paper discussing these drug compounds found in Egyptian mummies. They discovered THC, cocaine, and nicotine within 9 different individuals, which included 7 heads severed from the bodies, 1 incomplete mummy, and 1 complete mummy. They were all adults, with 3 being female and the other 6 male. These remains dated to around 1000 BC. The authors of the article used processes known as radioimmunology and gas chromatography or mass spectrometry. Radioimmunology is a method of measuring concentration of substances, usually antigens or foreign substance concentrations within the blood. Gas chromatography and mass spectrometry are used in chemistry to separate and then analyze different compounds by evaporating liquid solutions into gases. Both of these methods are used in modern times to test humans for drugs, usually through urine sample drug tests. The drugs were found in the hair, bone, and soft tissues of the mummies, showing that the drugs were not simply sprayed or shipped with the mummies, but ingested. The reason that these drugs may have been sprayed or shipped with the mummies is that nicotine was often found in insecticides. Even more telling, cocaine wasn't initially discovered, but benzoylecgonine was, which is the chemical left over after the human body metabolizes or processes cocaine. They also found continine, which is what is left over after nicotine is metabolized. These researchers then examined a mummy, dating to 950 BC, and discovered that THC had been inhaled, but the nicotine and cocaine had to have been ingested due to the fact that they were found in the highest concentration within the liver and the intestines. Eventually, 5 more researchers ran these tests on a broader range of 71 mummies, dating between 600 to 1100 AD. The highest concentrations of drugs were found in those who had died the youngest, indicating that ingesting the drugs was the most common method, preferred over smoking. After learning this, most of the researchers assumed that ancient Egyptians must have traveled to the New World and brought back tobacco, either the Nicotina rustica or the Nicotina tabacum strain, and cocaine, Erythroxylum coca or Erythroxylum novogratinase. However, in order for this explanation of the drugs of the mummies to be true, there are at least 3 assumptions that must also be true. The first one is that the Egyptians had to have seaworthy boats. The second is that Egyptians did not find the journey significant enough to write about in any of their records. And finally, there had to have been no sources of THC, nicotine, or cocaine available in Africa, the Near East, or Asia. There are several different counter-arguments to these 3 assumptions. The first is that while Egyptians did know how to sail rivers and navigate seas such as the Mediterranean, sailing intercontinentally was an extremely different process and a different type of navigation, and no seaworthy boats were ever found. Second, if the Egyptians had traded with South America for hundreds of years, why is there no record of it? Why would they keep this information a secret? Egyptians are known for their detailed accounts of journeys and expeditions, and they even wrote down technology for subsequent generations to learn from. Finally, THC in the form of hashish is indigenous to the Middle East, and Egyptians would have had more than enough access to this drug. The next question that we must answer is where the nicotine and cocaine came from. Both of the most common tobacco plants found in the Americas contain anywhere from 0.5 to 18% nicotine. Plants such as tomatoes, potatoes, and eggplant also have extremely small amounts of nicotine. However, if the ancient Egyptians had even been eating these plants, the levels found in these plants would not be high enough to be detectable. A plant called Nicotina africana, native to the African continent, contains about 2% nicotine. This provides a source for the nicotine and the cotinine present in the mummies. Cocaine plants that produce modern cocaine are found in South America, but at least 10 species of this same plant exist on the African continent. Cocaine has been extracted from a similar species found on Madagascar. Researchers have been unable to test the African species, but they were able to test and extract cocaine successfully from the African cocaine tree, which is commonly used as both a stimulant and a pain reliever. They were unable to test these other African species due to barriers on testing as a result of the American War on Drugs, but it is clear that these plants were ingested and provide a source of cocaine found in the mummies. Overall, Occam's razor, or the explanation that is the simplest, is proven to be true once again. As we learned in class, archaeological and scientific claims must be properly evaluated and researched as I have done in order to stop the spread of misinformation throughout the community.